Hello and welcome to Le Mans. MotoGP are back for another double header after their season opener in Jerez. Eric Granado walked away with maximum points, and here to tell us all about it, our MotoGP commentator, or one half I should say, Matt Dunn.
The much smaller half.
The much smaller half, that is right. Let's start off at the top. Eric Granado, 50 points from 50. It has to be said, really. Two really intelligent rides.
Yeah, and well, Eric, he's got such a great winning record. I think before that weekend he had, 6 podiums, I think, in MotoGP. 5 of them were victories, and he added 2 more victories to that roster now. So 8 podiums in total, 7 which are victories. I mean, absolutely sensational. He knows how to win. He always has done. Each one of his victories has been very intelligent in one way or the other. Here, a year ago in Le Mans, he managed to get Alessandro Saccone, his main rival at the time, in that final corner. A great battle right to the end. And then other times we've seen him completely run away with it. And we saw a bit of both last time out in Jerez, and he said a week ago. It feels like it, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. And I was going to say, dare I say it, because it does feel sometimes with Eric, he puts together a fantastic race, an intelligent race like we've just pointed out, but then perhaps loses his way a little bit as the season progresses.
Yeah.
Now he's got that 2 from 2. Do you think consistency is something we might see from his game this year?
Could be, and also he's quite fortunate in that you can afford to have lack of consistency this year. With 2 races per weekend, 14 races in total, you can make mistakes, you can have issues like, for example, Bradley Smith's got. He's coming here this weekend at the point of, us doing this live here, where we don't know the result of whether Bradley Smith can actually race this weekend, but he is hopefully recovered enough. He's missed 2 races, and then he can have 12 races in the series and hopefully fight for the title. So whether Eric has or not sorted his consistency issues fully for the rest of the season, it's okay either way, so long as he doesn't too much,
That could actually also be applicable to Domi Aegerter, who obviously finished just behind Eric Granado in that first race. I think, not just behind, it was actually almost 7 tenths. And in the second race, got just nudged off the podium in the final corner. You and I had discussed in Jerez about how he was definitely going to be one of this year's favourites. But you've got to imagine that he walked away from that race thinking, or that weekend thinking, God, this year's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard because, once again, Domi Aegerter still hasn't had a victory in well over a year now. His last victory came in 2020. He didn't actually win a race last year at all. So, yeah, it's still a bit of a problem for him. Having said that, he's been off the podium, I think, once this year in the 2 series that he competes in, MotoGP and the World Supersport Championship. He's had a pretty good record. Those podium bonuses will probably help him down the pub with his mates, or maybe a new fancy watch or a new car by the end of the year. She can't be too good, but yeah, in terms of wanting to actually win the series, I wonder whether this weekend he can take that bit of extra step up.
There was, of course, a bit of drama in race 1. Miquel Pons, who we're going to be having a chat to later on, which is why we're up just in front of his box, unfortunately made contact with Mattia Casadei crashing out. Now, he was actually demoted off that podium in race 1 for a penalty infringement, but the penalty actually was dished out on the last lap, and he was expected to do a long lap penalty.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does come quite late, doesn't it? But I guess that's the nature of these shorter races. They have 8 laps down there in Jerez. If something happens, decisions got to be made, and if a lap time's 140 odd, 145 maybe, they haven't got as much time to be able to make that decision, I suppose. But it was a bit late enough for him to see it on his dash and do it. I'm guessing his perspective from a rider, we can maybe ask him loosely about it. I suppose he probably doesn't quite agree with the decision, but that was the decision that was made. The good thing for him, though, is he bounced back in race 2. And overall, he had a much more competitive weekend than we've seen from him previously, aside from when he won last year in Catalunya.
As did Mattia Casadei. They both kind of found their little retribution in race 2. Just one more question on Miquel. Do you think we're going to see him as more of a regular podium finisher this year? It looks as though he's kind of made a bit of a step up.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the bike's very different this year to what we've had previously. It's 15 kilos lighter now. It's completely changed the weight distribution on the motorcycle. There's a lot less weight on the rear now. It requires a slightly different style of riding, and he seems like one of the riders who's adapted to that quicker than other people. Some of them weren't too happy with the changes in the pre-season tests, but as you speak to everybody in the know, whether it's the team managers, Nicola Goubert, the director of it, their perspective is it's just a slight difference in the motorcycle for everybody. It's all the same. it's up to the rider to figure out, like it is in any sort of condition in any Grand Prix category. The point is progress in the technological innovation, reducing the weight, that's a whole big part of it. They just got to work it out. Fortunately for Miquel, he has seemed to have worked it out so far, which is good news for him.
Just before we bring him in, I just wanted to ask you about two other riders. Firstly, Jordi Torres, our reigning World Cup winner.
Yeah.
Muted start.
It was a muted start, wasn't it? But I think it comes back to what we were talking about with Granada and the inconsistency maybe. He can get away with that now. It's a 14 race season. He didn't fall off. Okay, he finished around top 6, top 7. That's all right. He can cope with that. He does need to make sure though those sorts of weekends are very limited throughout the year. But of course he loves this place very well. He won the first World Cup title here a couple of years ago now. So he knows what it's like to do the business round here. So could be a good weekend for Jordi too.
And then just one more rider, Hikari Akubo. Definitely showed a couple of signs of promise last season, but it looks as though he is going to, at one point this year, maybe even pick up his first piece of MotoE silverware.
Yeah, could do, because last year I was looking through my notes, he was really quietly consistent. Top 6 rider, pretty much guaranteed whenever he would finish. He did really, really well. And then coming into Jerez the other weekend, well, he just took that little extra step up. He's now, instead of just off the back of that podium and leading group, he's sort of right on the back of them and in the mix now. So it could be another one. It was a dark horse, wasn't it? I think he's one to watch out for the rest of the season.
Well, let's grab Miquel in now. Miquel, would you love to come and join us? That would be fantastic. So let's start off with your weekend in Jerez. Poleman for both races, and then obviously the penalty knocked you off the podium for race 1, but bouncing back with a podium in race 2. What are your thoughts on that weekend?
Yeah, I'm so happy with my performance in Jerez. We did a really good pace. We led the second race. Unfortunately, the first race, the podium, we had a long lap penalty in last lap. For me, it's unfair, but this racing sometimes is good for us, or sometimes not good. But this time it's like this. But the second race we did a really good job. We led all the race, and the second position was so good for us.
Last year, Miquel, obviously you got your victory in Barcelona. A great race. But this year you seem from the very start more competitive. Why is that?
Yeah, this year I know very good the team, the bike. I know better, and the category. I feel more confidence. We did a really good precision at home with my mechanic that he lives there, and. Well, I feel more confidence. I know better the bike. In first test, we couldn't did it, but on the second test, I feel very good. We had a really good setting for the race, and I hope to be here on the top another time.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that. Didn't you? One of the riders last year, you had a bit of a problem during the race. You weren't one of the. You're looking this year to make sure you're up there a bit more here in Le Mans, I guess.
Yeah, last year here was quite good on the practice, but at the race, unfortunately, we had a problem on cycle lap. But I hope this year will be better.
Miquel, this is only your second season in MotoE, and as Matt just pointed out, it does look as though you've made a step. Do you feel maybe you're ready to challenge for the World Cup title this year?
I hope yes, but I think this year we start better, but now we need to push more, because if we relax or something like this, will be not good, because now start from zero here at Le Mans. We had nothing, and we start to work tomorrow morning earlier, and nothing. We hope we can do a good job here.
Are you enjoying this new format, having 2 races every weekend, a chance, I guess, to bounce back if anything goes wrong in race 1 the day after?
Yeah, I enjoy more the qualification because it's so good for me. Because last year with one lap is like not real time, and maybe some fast rider are on the back or something like that. But now with this qualification, the riders who is on the top is the real, because we had more laps to do the fastest lap.
Yeah, e-pole last year, so much pressure on them.
I know, really difficult, wasn't it? I didn't envy them then. It
No.
seems much easier now. This weekend though, I guess you probably want to take pole position in the last flying lap rather than set the good flying lap at the start, crashing in the gravel like in Jerez, eh?
Yeah, in Jerez we did pole position. At the end, I crashed on the second lap, but I feel really good on the first lap, and we could do a very good lap.
Yeah, it was pretty good, eh? Very, very fast from the beginning. I think fastest of like 3 practices as well.
Yeah. We did the best lap of the weekend. Later on the race, we improved a little bit more, but that's the pace that we have on both races.
Miquel, lovely to talk to you, and better luck for the weekend. Coming up, we've got 2 previous winners here in Le Mans out of the MotoE field, Eric Granado and also Jordi Torres. Matt, put you on the spot.
Oh, you can't do that, Amy, especially with Miquel here. I think Miquel Pons is going to get both victories, actually.
There we go.
That'll be my bet for the He certainly hopes so, doesn't he?
Just a little reminder of your times for MotoE this weekend. You can join Matt Dunn, Neil Morrison and Fran Ward for qualifying tomorrow at 4:50 local time. Saturday, you've got your first race at 4:25, and then Sunday, race 2 at 3:30 local time. But from us 3 here in Le Mans, it's goodbye for now.
Done?